Good evening. My name is Chris Hayward. I'm here to demonstrate a new product for the Australian homewares market called the Grass Vase. This is a design that's been inspired by Ziggy Edward, and I hope you will find it a highly attractive and marketable product. But before I show you the product, I'd like to just take a moment and ask you to think about a short poem by Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu. The wheel's hub holds 30 spokes. Utility depends on the hole through the hub. The potter's clay forms a vessel. It is the space within that serves. A house is built with solid walls. The nothingness of window and door alone render it usable. That which exists may be transformed. What is non-existent has boundless uses. And this for me resonates very deeply with what Ziggy and her preferences are in design and the design of the grass vase. So if we think about Chinese aesthetic design philosophy, which asks us to look at what is, what was, and might be through suggestiveness. So not telling in absolute terms, but allowing the user to fill the spaces with their own interpretations. And the grass vase tries to function in that way, where on one level it is explicit what it is, but it actually has multiple meanings that are layered over time through different uses. And this is very much what Esther Pastori talks about in terms of superposition and multivalence. And similar, like the rock paintings of the Aboriginal rock art, interpreting what it is, you need to be quite literal in looking at what it is at one level and not trying to, I think, over-interpret. So the grass vase for Ziggy, it needs to fit with her way of life, it needs to fit into her studio and her working context, and it also needs to have purpose and function and meaning. So let's meet Ziggy. That's Ziggy in the middle there. Ziggy's a mother, a painter, a carer, a student, and a tutor. She's a deep lover of nature and the environment, and one of the sorts of values that are very important to Ziggy are respect for the environment, respect for different people's perspectives and ways of life, and appreciating that in how she thinks about her role and her function and what the things and the parts of the community that she participates in. So Ziggy has a preference for things that are portable, that do have multiple meanings and ideally uses. The meanings often will relate to spiritual aspects of life, as well as linking her back to specific events in time and her back to her family. She does like abstraction. It's desirable, but not to the point where it's so abstract that it's difficult to understand and see what the thing or the object is there to do. So the main inspiration for this project came from a diary that Ziggy used on her journey to Arnhem Land. And in this diary, it was a very simple diary, leather-bound, plain pages, and she actually collected grasses and kept them and stored them in that diary. And Ziggy showed me all of the grasses, how and where she keeps them protected on layers of paper in her art studio. So in terms of the design of the vase, there needs to be simplicity, not imitation or exact reproduction, but preferring a degree of abstraction. Nature and natural elements are important. Appreciation of the frugality of nature and respect for craftsmanship. Ritual is important, and she likes intricate patterns. She has a great appreciation of Aboriginal Australian art, and particularly the techniques from the Central Desert region. So if we take it up a level and start thinking about where does this product fit within the broader Australian community, symbolically it's telling the story of a social and cultural desire for uniqueness, individuality, the environment, and simplicity and complexity. It draws on Aboriginal, Australian and Chinese design philosophy, so this respectful borrowing from other cultures. And this is what Ortiz talks about in transculturation. So think of it like the child of two parents, and the child takes on traits from both, and it's done in a respectful borrowing way. It's quite powerful as a technology, the vase, in that each time you use it, it tells a different story, it has a different meaning to different people, and some aspects of that meaning may only be known to a few. So perhaps a little bit like a mask that you find in, say, the PNG Highlands. It is powerful in that it communicates something, and it communicates clearly to the people who know and understand Ziggy and her story. So if we dig a little bit deeper, and I introduce the vase, we can go through some of the features now. So the shape of the vase, fairly classic vase, about 30 centimetres high, 12 centimetres in diameter. And it's about practicality, function, and purpose. So it can be used as a vase with flowers, but it can be used for other things as well. This relates back to Ziggy in that in her studio she has a lot of containers where she keeps the things that she's collected. I suspect that she would use it in the way that it's shown here, that have got paintbrushes and grass and objects inside the vase. Around the top you can see slots, and these are slots for weaving grasses, and this ties right back to Ziggy's story and her culture. Her family and historically have been spinners and weavers and artists, and so this is a way to add your own personal touch to the vase by weaving grasses or other things or ribbon into the vase and making it your own. It's a little bit difficult to see on this image here, but there are lines around the vase, and these are like etched tracks. And these are symbolic of Ziggy's journey, and it's about reading the vase. So as you get up close, you can feel it and touch it, and it's quite tactile. The lower quarter of the vase, there's a quote that Ziggy reminded me of, which was the intense meaning shimmering below the surface. And this is about potentially when you're up north and you're in Arnhem Land, you've got these deep crevices that are filled with water, and the country, the flat up on the top, and these crevices. And so again, this is about that connection and her love of country and nature. Around the middle of the vase is copper banding, and copper is just an element, so Ziggy does like that little bit of detail, and so that is an element of nature. It comes from the land, and it adds that additional bit of detail that she likes. The striations raised around the upper three quarters of the vase, again, that's about reading the country, touching it, feeling it, and understanding the country. In the base, this is probably one of the most important parts of the vase for Ziggy, which is around the secret, the sacred, and the profane. So in the base of the vase is a small imprint, and that imprint, the meaning of that's only known to Ziggy, and that's thinking about women's business and women's law, and where that's only known to women, and I don't know what the meaning of that is. That's something that is that only Ziggy knows the meaning of. So further practicalities, what is it made of? It's made of non-glazed porcelain outer with a glazed interior, so it can actually hold water and liquids. The copper wire that goes around the middle of it. So it's very simple to produce, and it doesn't involve expensive materials. So if we think about the market for the vase, think about the business model around, is it viable, desirable and feasible? Well, our market research has shown here that yes, there is a market for the grass vase, and I'll take you through some of the trends that we're following and where this vase might be positioned in the market. So the fit with buyers' lifestyle preferences. So just thinking about the trends that we're seeing in terms of decorator items in the market at the moment, and this is guided by magazines like Vogue, Living, Australian Home Beautiful and House and Garden. They're our top selling magazines in Australia. Consumers are looking for unique ways to express their own style and identity. So the home decoration trends of 2014 that we're tapping into is no distinction between indoor and outdoor, things that are customisable, combining old and new, and going green. The grass vase definitely fits within those categories and those buying preferences. So in terms of market positioning, unique and affordable. The customers do have disposable income to spend on home decoration. They're particular about what's in their home, appreciate uniqueness and artistic appeal, and they're looking for something out of the ordinary. And these are people who are probably shopping at David Jones as opposed to Myer, shopping at David Domain, not Harvey Norman. So it's affordable but not mass market, and I think that the price point for this type of product would be sub 100 Australian dollars. In terms of shipping and production, it can be produced in a form mould. Post-firing, it requires minimal handling to complete the product, only the application of the copper wire, keeping cost of production down. And in terms of shipping, each individual vase comes packed in a reinforced cardboard box, and there are 12 vases per carton. So to finish up, I'd like to draw on Truman Capote and history of the grass harp, and I've modified this to a grass vase, gathering, telling, a harp of voices remembering a story. Thank you very much.